birds, I told you they really rattlesnakes. And if you're curious about what we feed these birds, it's a little something we like to call Mises Pieces. We get commercially farmed mice that come into us frozen, and that's what these birds eat. And you notice when Emmett takes off from the perch, how low he goes to the ground. His wings almost touch the ground. He does that because he's a pro at flying. He's learned how to use air pressure to his advantage. When he goes off that perch and he starts to drop to the ground, the air pressure under him compresses, and it gives him a nice pillow of air to glide along on the ground. He doesn't have to flap that much. And then when he wants to come up to the perch, he throws his feet forward. That creates drag and causes him to stall out. And at that point, he can stop right dead on his tracks. See how he has his wings out and his tail out? That's a behavior we call mantling. That's his way of telling his handlers, there's nothing to see here. That means don't touch my food. That's kind of a food aggressive behavior. And both Joanne and Doris are on the mouse thief registry. Also notice how he has his head feathers up and his belly feathers out. That's a behavior called hackling. That's what your dog does when he gets mad at you. That is a very food aggressive behavior, and he's bullying his handlers into giving him that last little piece of food. Look at the puffed up belly feathers. This is our very lovely Emmett, and he's got his wings out so you get a really good shot at the dark mark on the leading edge underneath his wings. If these birds are flying over you, that's how you can tell you're under a red tail. These birds come in 14 different color morphs. They range from being very pale to being almost jet black. Each one of those color morphs retains the brick red tail, except for the one that is almost jet black. Emmett is more what we think of in coloring when it comes to red tails. And as Emmett and Joanne leave us, coming in is Jen with the very beautiful Jax. Jax is a Harris's hawk. Zane, sorry. We have Zane. They're both Harris's hawks. But Zane is much, much more beautiful. We're very, very lucky to have these birds here in Arizona. They're only found in and around the Sonoran Desert. And they're a very, very unique raptor. They're one of the few social raptors that we know of. They live in a female-dominated family grouping. It's not unusual for the breeding female to have her younger offspring help to raise the newborns. These birds also hunt cooperatively. They call them the wolf packs of the skies because of that. These birds will get down on the ground, and a couple will be up in the trees, and they do some hunting maneuvers. One is called an ambush maneuver, where the two on the ground will be flushing out something like a rabbit or a hare, and then the ones that are on top of saguaros, once that hare is chased out of the underbrush, they swoop in and they take up chase. And every one of those birds may participate in the hunting maneuver. The one that makes the kill, though, he will share that food with all the rest of the family members. They may squabble over it like we do at the dinner table, but every single one of the family members will get a piece of that meal. They do an extremely unique maneuver we don't see in any other raptor, and it's called stacking. You can go on the internet and just type that in, Harris hawk stacking. One bird from the family group will get on top of the saguaro, they ball up their talons, and then successive family members fly in, ball up their talons, and land on the shoulders of the bird under them. There are pictures of them stacking 2, 3, and 4 hawks high. Then we think they do this so that they can get a good vantage point of the open desert, since that's what they like to hunt. Every single one of these birds is that same color. They're beautiful chocolate brown, beautiful rust brown, and then they have the white band at the top of their tail, and they have the white tip on their tail. They're a smallish hawk, and that's because they live in the warmer region, since they live in and around the Sonoran Desert. The smaller body mass, it's easier to dissipate heat, so these are not big hawks. But in the raptor world, the female will be 20 to 30% larger than the male. So Zane here is a male, and if you see some of our females, if we had Beatrix out for you, or Salsa, you would see that they're considerably larger.
It's like, I know you have more in there, Doris. Come on. Give a brother a break.
Yes, he knows. So, next Saturday, we have an exciting event coming up called El Rio Vivo. It's free. We're going to have live music. We'll have activities for the kids. We're going to have the Saltwater Trail open. The rangers are blocking it off. We're going to have that trail open, and we'll have a bunch of our educational ambassadors out there lining the trail. So if you don't have anything to do, please come and see us. We'll also have artists here selling their wares, and we'll have some food trucks. So if you get a chance, please come and see us. Next into the amphitheater is the very lovely Zane.
Neptune.
Neptune, sorry.
She's just one bird off. Honestly.
It's Neptune. Neptune is a barn owl. These owls we don't typically tend to see much of during the day because they do keep themselves very well hidden away during the daylight hours. But we do have barn owls here in Arizona. And when this bird flies, listen to, you won't hear his wings flap. And also look at how white underneath his wings is. Oh, we have an operator air. He's ready. These birds are so white underneath their wings, they're thought to be the genesis of the ghost story. Think about how we commonly depict a ghost. White shroud-draped arms outstretched, round head, and black eyes. And you can easily see how somebody coming home from a bar one night, walking through a cemetery, with one of these birds coming up from behind a headstone, and you can easily see how we might think this is a ghost. Now, owls are silent flyers. If you get a chance out on the trail when we have one of our owls out, look at the leading edge of his flight feathers, and what you see is they're frayed. They look like this. And that helps to break up the air turbulence and enable him to fly through the air silently. Owls don't have to be fast and maneuverable. They only have to be stealthy because they're flying and hunting during the lowest light levels. This bird is truly nocturnal. We know that because of the brown eyes. Science tells us that the color of an owl's eyes will tell us who's most likely to hunt. The brown eyes tell us that they're most likely to hunt during the lowest light levels. Yellow eyes tell us they're most likely to hunt at dusk. And orange eyes tell us they're most likely to hunt at dawn. He's got kind of like a little popsicle thing going here. So he's got to take little pieces. He could swallow a mouse whole, but he prefers he prefers to do a little bit at a time. Now, these birds, because they hunt during the lowest light levels, they hunt almost exclusively by sound. You notice they have very, very well-developed facial disc feathers, and that is because those facial disc feathers, bless you, enable him to funnel the sound waves back to his ears. He has ears on the side of his head like we do, except for him, one is higher and one is lower. That functions as radar. He triangulates the sound. He can figure out where a sound is coming from up to a 6-inch square in front of him, fly out with almost no light, drop those long legs through snow or leaf litter, and 85% of the time, he's going to come up with something that he can eat. Those facial disc feathers are so important in his survival. On each foot, he has one talon. It's called a pectinated toe. Pectinated means comb-like, and that's used exclusively to keep those facial disc feathers in place. boy, isn't he? These birds, they eat rodents, mice particularly. And please note, we ask that if you have a mice problem, please don't use rodenticide. One poisoned mouse can kill an entire family. And during breeding season, which is coming up, these families have to take 50 mice a night just to be able to survive. So you tell me, which is a better rodenticide, this bird right here or the chemicals? Yes, Neptune is definitely better, and he certainly is a lot more attractive. These birds don't hoot, they scream. They've got a cry that is just kind of guttural. And because of that, they're also thought to be the genesis of the Banshee story. That Banshee cry that they talk about in the British Isles, they think it's that scream from that bird right there. Neptune loves his food. Thank you, Janet. Neptune. Next to the arena, we have the extremely lovely Cochise. Cochise is one of our bald eagles, and Anne is going to be bringing him in and feeding him for you, and she's going to tell you a little something about the bald eagle. When she's done feeding him and talking to you, then you're more than welcome to go back up to where she is right now. That's what we call a horseshoe, and you can get pictures with or of the bald eagle. Well, Cochise is one of our boys, and here they come. Cochise is going to do a magic trick, hopefully, and you get to watch a chicken bone disappear.
Yes. He's very excited at the moment, so pardon me for a minute.
And just to let you know that the red-tailed hawk that you saw earlier, his voice, the red-tailed scream, is often overdubbed when they're showing the bald eagle. Bald eagles bugle, and if Cochise bugles for you, think about that, and the next time you see a bald eagle, I can almost guarantee you can hear the red-tailed hawk cry. Ladies and gentlemen, Anne and Cochise.
Hi, welcome everyone to Liberty. So yes, this is Cochise, and secret's already out, but can you tell me what bird this is, what type of bird this is? We all know, right? A bald eagle? So right now he's going to be chatting a little bit while I'm giving some basic information because he knows that I have his favorite food, which is a chicken leg. And you'll see him, he knows exactly where it is in my pouch. So in just a moment I'll start feeding him, but hopefully he'll have some vocalizations in the meantime. So Cochise is fairly young, he's about 10 years old. He came to us from Wyoming. So in Wyoming, they have fish hatcheries, or fish farms, if you will. And this bird, yes, I know it's in here. Yes, we're going to have just a minute. And he's a very smart bird. When he was young, he figured out that he could go and land at the fish hatcheries. And the employees at the fish hatcheries thought, oh, this is fantastic. Here's a bald eagle. And they were feeding him scraps. And so he learned very quickly that he didn't have to hunt. It was very easy. He just had to go to the fish hatchery and he had a buffet every day. The only negative to this, the downside, is that he became habituated to humans, which essentially means that he doesn't exactly understand how to be wild. So he can't be released back into the wild because he's too used to humans.
He's arguing with her.
He's drooling, by the way, because he definitely knows that the chicken leg's there. So because he was habituated to humans, he's not able to be released back into the wild. So after a few times of him coming back to the fish hatchery and then releasing him back into the wild and back and forth, they transferred him to Liberty because they just realized that he was not going to function very well hunting on his own, because why do that if you can get free food? If you can have a buffet for yourself. Yes, I know. She's
like, I'm smart.
I hope no one's squeamish. I know, okay. So in the wild, these guys normally, their favorite food would be like salmon, trout, any fish. But they will actually go after small mammals as well, deer, small rabbits. Ooh, yeah, you're squeezing hard. So when they get excited, they squeeze really hard. So yes, you're good. I have to reposition you just a minute. Hold on a second. Sorry, everybody. Okay, there we go. Okay. So just like he's basically a teenager. So if anybody has teenagers or is going to have teenagers, they are eating you out of house and home. So that's what he's doing, and he's very excitable right now. So he is squeezing you very hard. Hence, I have a glove on for that. Okay, you're going to do it. Okay, very good. So the interesting thing about bald eagles, you'll see his wingspan. I don't know if he did it very well, but he has about a 6-foot wingspan. Does anybody want to guess how much he weighs? Who's the elephant?
10 pounds.
30 pounds, 10 pounds? 40? Oh, 15. You guys are close. So he is about 9 pounds. Maybe just on the edge of 10 pounds. But he looks a whole lot bigger than that. Agreed? So if everybody remembers from probably 6th grade science class that we learned that birds have hollow bones, and a majority of the mass of his body is multiple layers of feathers. But he still looks pretty imposing. And the reason is, in the wild, he does not want to look weak because he'll get picked on, correct? He wants to look imposing. So these guys can make themselves look really big. Oh yeah, okay. You can take it? Okay. They can make themselves look very imposing and very big, obviously defend off any predators. Unfortunately, humans are the main predator at this point. Okay, so then he may swallow this bone whole, so we're going to see. We're going to see if he'll do it. So it doesn't look like he could do that, right? His mouth, it doesn't look like he could take that in. Okay, you're going to try it. Okay, you're going to decide. You're going to try it. So while we're talking about his strength, okay, there it goes. Did you get it? Sometimes we have to help him a little bit just because I'm going to try to bite that a little bit. Fine, it's a little bit of a big one. So the strength of his talons. So everybody out in the audience, if you make a fist and squeeze really hard, this is your grip strength. And we measure it by pounds per pressure. An adult male can probably squeeze 40 to 50 pounds of pressure in their grip strength. These guys can grip 300 pounds of pressure in one talon, in one of their talons. And if you think about it, it's because they have to come down, they're swooping down, they might be going after small deer, they might be going after small mammals, and they need to be able to grab and hold on to that prey and fly away. So very, very strong. So we wear gloves just to protect ourselves from their nails and their talons and whatnot. If he wanted to, if he squeezed hard enough, he could crush my wrist. He could crush my bones. That's how strong he is. Which is actually pretty amazing. You think he's only 9 pounds, and he's only 1.5 feet tall, basically. Let's see if he swallows it. He's trying. He's trying. Other interesting facts about bald eagles is how high they can fly. So these guys can fly about 2 miles in altitude, which is pretty amazing. Their eyesight is 8 times better than ours. So when they're flying high, they can see like a rabbit from 2 miles away up in the sky, which is pretty amazing when you think about that. I know you're going to be good. Okay, we're going to try again. So you can see that he's basically just scraping part of the bone, and then now he's going to, we're going to try it again. We're going to attempt. So has anybody seen a bald eagle up close? Anyone seen a bald eagle in the wild? Okay. We do have several nesting pairs of bald eagles and golden eagles in Arizona. That's kind of an interesting fact because a lot of people don't think about Arizona and having, well, now we dropped it. I don't know, now we get it. A lot of people don't realize that eagles are present in Arizona. We have several protected pairs of eagles, bald eagles, on the Salt River. So a lot of times during the spring when tubing starts or early summer, parts of the Salt River are closed because there are nests. There are bald eagle nests there that are protected. I think it's pretty amazing. You don't think about Arizona having eagles, but we have probably upwards of 80 nesting pairs of both bald eagles and golden eagles. So it's pretty special. And as you might have realized, or heard on the news a couple weeks ago, that the bald eagle is now the official bird or national bird, which I thought they always were. But I guess officially it's in writing and signed off. So that's kind of exciting. Are you eating my glove? I don't have any more. You dropped it. I know. Does anybody have any questions about Cochise? Anything? I know it's very interesting to watch him eat because you just don't often get to see these guys up close. Yes, sir.
What's their lifespan?
Lifespan, thank you, yes. So in the wild, if they make it past their first year, roughly anywhere from 15 to 20 years, maybe more, just depending on the environment they're in. Oh yes, thank you. So he's gonna get it for you, yes. In captivity, they can live upwards of 25 plus years. One of our golden eagles on site, Apache, is 40, I think he's 41 years old. So as long as they have good care, good eating, as you can see, then they're very healthy. So, and I don't know if anybody, I currently, you're stuck. There is a webcam, well, several webcams throughout the country of bald eagle nests. And right now in Big Bear, California, there's a pair called Shadow and Jackie, and you can watch them on their webcam, the live cam, and they just had three eggs. And so I don't know, I think it's kind of interesting and kind of fun to watch them in their natural habitat. Yes, he's going to try this again. Thank you, son.
I think he's doing that on purpose.
He's trying, he's trying, but I don't think you have to, one more time. Okay. Any other questions? Any other? Yes, yes ma'am. I'm so sorry, I can't quite hear you, sorry. They do kill, yes, they kill their prey before they eat it, yes. The only time you'll see, sometimes, is when they go for fish. So a lot of times you've probably seen this on video where they are skimming a lake or whatnot, and they're kind of taking the salmon out of the river. And and at that time, sometimes the fish will be alive at that moment, and then yeah, they do kill them, yes, because otherwise it's too hard for them to eat it. That's a good question. Yes, ma'am. Oh, very strong. Not quite as strong as vultures. Thank you, thank you. But yes, that's a good question because you think about it, he's eating a whole bone and he's going to have to digest this. Now, earlier they talked about owls and owl pellets, right? Well, all the hawks, all the eagles also do regurgitate pellets of some sort. He just has less in the pellets than like the owls would. But yes, I don't know that the consistency of this other acid, but he's trying. Are we gonna try? We're gonna get it, you guys. We're gonna get it.
Until you get a magic trick.
Took us a little bit, a little accurate there. There's your bugling. There's your bugling. So that's your
Question over here.
Yes, ma'am.
My question is, do they recognize the different people that work there?
I would say this is a difficult question to answer because there's a thing called anthropomorphizing, which is a fancy term for us humans putting human emotion on animals or birds. I would say yes, through the work that we do, that I do think that they recognize the different handlers, especially those of us that handle them regularly. I do also feel like they have personalities to some degree. It's very difficult because you can't exactly tell if they recognize you, but if they don't know you and you're new to them, they have a certain behavior where they kind of stand away and stand off. So I do recognize if they don't know you. But that's a good question because I think over time they kind of get tolerant and more associated with the handlers and with the volunteers. Yes. Any other questions? It's a good question. Yes. Good question. So the question is, when do they become bald, or when do they get a white head? So bald eagles will look like golden eagles up until about age 4.5 or 5. So at 5 years old, technically they're considered fully mature, and they will look like cochise, so they'll be fully white-headed. Up until then, if you see them in the wild, you might mistake them for a golden eagle. It's kind of interesting. You think, well, they're born this way, but no, they evolved into it. Good question. Good question. I know you're excited there too. Yes, you want to say everybody. Yeah, yes, please, no, I'm sorry. Yes. is a good question. So the question is, why are their heads white? And if it's a healthier bird or a healthier bald eagle, do they have more feathers? Are they wider? My understanding from what I've researched and read is like the bald eagles up in Alaska where they were regular, like really good salmon and whatnot. They have very, very white feathers, very kind of contrasting feathers. I would assume, without knowing fully, I would assume that the healthier they're eating, the better food they're eating, the brighter and the whiter they're getting. I think they're just like us, kind of with our hair. It's like we all have different hair, different lengths, different styles. It's similar to the bald eagles as well. But that's a good question because that's not often asked. And as for why they have a white head, that's a good question. I don't know how to answer that. Do you remember, Sonia?
I would think it was just to show sexual maturity.
I guess like parrots, I don't know much about parrots, but parrots, like the coloring and whatnot, just show the differentiation. And yeah, you're right, sexual maturity. Yes. Good questions, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any additional questions, you're more than welcome to ask Anne. Anne is now going to be up in the horseshoe. Dora is going to hold her hands up right there. If you'd like to get pictures of Cochise or with Cochise, you're welcome to do that. Anne's going to take him up there. Ladies and gentlemen, we know you have choices for where you spend your Saturdays. We just want to say thank you for spending today with us. And Elizabeth and her dad.